So in yesterday's session, we have seen about what is function, what are the different types of function that we need to use. And in today's session, I think let me, okay. So yesterday we have seen about different types of function, what is the syntax for function, and how to call the function. So any question on the function part?
No.
Okay. All right. Uh, so these, I'll just do a recap for a few minutes. So this is how the function is written. There is a function keyword followed by the name of function. Then we'll be passing n parameters with inside the parenthesis, and then it will return the value. So whenever there is a function having the parameter, it will return some value after performing some action. And if you return that value, the return value can be accessed outside, and that can be used to print the complete result. And this function, this is called as, whenever you say outside the function, if you say add a comma b is parameter, but if you pass the value for a comma b, that is called as arguments. So whenever you say add arguments value, that is called as calling the function outside the function. So whenever you call the function, that function, whatever the value it is returning after performing the action, those value will be stored inside the variable after the inside the variable outside the function, and that variable we should be able to print the value. So always remember, function will return some value. That's about the function, calling the function directly inside the console. You can also call in this way, directly inside the console. And then we have also seen about few programs. We understood what the basic of little programs there. This is calling the function. And then we have seen the different types of function we have. So we have named function. Wherever you see function keyword and followed by a name, it is called as named function. Also function expression is almost a similar way. So there is an anonymous function, which is nothing but a function which does not have any name. Then we have function expression. A function can have name or can be anonymous. So whatever we have seen in the type 1 and type 2, those can be called as function expression. Function with a name or function without a name is called as expression. Next, there is a arrow function, which is nothing but a shorter form of function. Since the year 6 has come into picture, arrow function has become the most used and most recommended way of writing the function inside the JavaScript. And then we have also seen the different anonymous function followed by arrow function, this one. All right, so today we will talk about a little bit about the scope of variables. So we will talk about scope of variables. Write it here. Because if you see here, as soon as I started typing, it started giving me the suggestion, because I think for another classes I have enabled the AI. So this is why it is giving me the suggestion, and I would not suggest you people to use AI in the initial days, but I will let you know when to use it, so that you'll get the idea what you need to do. All right, so scope of variable. So there are two different types of scope. One is local scope, and one is global scope. I think when in the initial days I was talking about the variables, where I said what is variable, how to declare the variable, and what is initialization, what is declaration. When I explain all these things, I have also explained you the differences between let constant. And then I said the variable, whichever you represent inside a block, is called as local variable. The variable which is declared outside the block is called as the variable that is declared outside the block is called as global variable. Okay. So local variable, a variable which is declared inside the block, and the variable which is declared outside the block. What does the inside and outside block means? So if I say I can take anything, if I take function, or I can just take for loop. I'll say let I equal to 0 and console.log I. So if you see this one, inside this variable, this particular let I equal to 1, this scope is only till this particular for loop, because this is inside the parenthesis or the argument. This is inside the parenthesis of for. It is not initialized outside the for loop. So here, local, because it is declared inside the for loop. If you see here, this scope is only till local. It is declared inside the for loop. Once it is declared outside the for loop, so for let's say if I say let uh, I1 equal to 15. Now this is called as global variable. Why? Because the variable is not declared inside any scope, any block. Whenever a variable is declared inside a block is nothing but a parenthesis, which is nothing but a bracket, which is nothing but a curly braces. If a variable declared inside this one or this one, these two quotes, inside this parenthesis, if a variable is declared, it means that it is called as a local variable. What is it is called? It is called as local variables and accessed only in that scope. Okay, so now if you see example, I think when we are writing the for loop, let me see where is that for loop. Yeah, when we are writing the for loop, here if you see, I'll take the example, I'll take the program. Yeah, I said here for let I equal to 1 I less than equal to 5 I plus plus. It means I'm printing the value from 1 to 5. Now see, I can also be able to write the same thing. I'll say for let I equal to 5. I'll say console.log I. Then what we're trying to print here, we're trying to print the value from 1 to less than or equal to 10. If I run this program, node hyphen for loop.js, yeah, so if you see here, let me clear this one. Yes, if you see the value here, it is printing in the form of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It is not throwing any error. There is I equal to 1. And in the top somewhere also I have declared let I equal to 1. Same thing. So why it is not throwing the error? Because this value is declared inside the scope variable. It is inside the local variable. This had got the scope only till this parenthesis, only till this for loop. That above, wherever we had written the for loop, that particular for loop has got the access. I value is accessed only till this particular for loop. So whenever you see a variable, whenever you see a variable that is inside the bracket, inside the parenthesis, or inside the curly braces, that is called as local variable. So understand in this way, let's assume that everyone, whoever is here, we will have some official name. There is a name that is provided to us, and that name will be present everywhere. It will be present inside our birth certificate. It will be present inside our education certificate. On all the government official document, everywhere the name will be present. That name is global name. everyone will be able to recognize you with that particular name. If tomorrow, if I see the official document, then I'll be able to say this document belongs to this person. And you, even the people can call you with that particular name. You go to office, you'll have some name. The people will call you with that name. But now we also know that inside the house, especially in India, inside the house, people will also have some other name. People call them with some other name that is just inside the house, not outside the house. Now, what will happen? The name that is used by your parents or your brother or your sister or your relatives inside the house is only known to these people, only known to the few people, because that is not your original name. That is the random name they have given apart from the original name that they used to call you. So, what basically will happen in that case? Your name, whatever the name you have inside the house that is called by your parents, is called local name. With that name, the name which is not known to everyone, with that name, if someone call you inside the office, you'll not respond. Probably you'll not respond. You're thinking that that is not my name. That is only the name which is uh, told by my parents or my relatives inside the house. So there is a chance that inside the office you'll not respond to that particular name because you don't know that they are calling you. Because inside the office you have your personal name, you have your official name. So that official name is called global name, and the name that is called inside your house, that scope, that name validity is only till the local variable. It means only till the inside the house, not outside the house. So that's the difference between local and global variable. We'll write one program and we'll see. Anyway, this is how the for loop work, for loop program, but we'll see one more. Okay. So I will take the example. Going forward, we'll take most of the example on the function basis only. So I'll say function. I'll say n1, comma n2. I have taken two number, n1 and n2. There is a function where I have taken the value of n1 and n2. Now I said let sum equal to n1 plus n2, and then I have said console.log sum. This is what we have seen yesterday also. And we know that whenever we are writing a function, we definitely have to call the function which is outside the for loop. So I'll say add number, and then I'll give the value as 15, 25. And I will store this. You can directly print this one also, and we'll see other way also how to do this one. So now in this program, if you see here, we have taken the add as a number, add number as a function name, which is having the two value n1 and n2. Now let sum equal to n1 plus n2 as it. Let sum equal to n1 plus n2. Here, if you see, the scope of the variable is local because it is declared inside the function. Now let me run this one and see how it is working. I'll say node function.js. So it is saying 25 plus. Let me differentiate here. So it is saying 25 plus 15 equal to 40. So what is happening? We are calling the function here. Function is called. Okay, so we are calling the function here. Function is called here, and then it will go inside this function name. Here it will see there is a add number. There is a value called n1 and n2, and then it will say let sum equal to n1 plus n2. It means it is taking the value of n1 and n2 and it is storing the result inside the sum value, console.log sum. Now it is printing the value as this one. Now if I say here console.log sum, see it is throwing an error. It is saying sum is not defined. Here we have said there is a variable called sum. Always remember, whenever we are talking about the scope of a variable, scope of the variable, which is local or global. So variable, we know that always declared using let and constant. inside our variable classes, we have understood about what is variable and how to declare the variable. So if I say let variable name, it is nothing but we are declaring the variable using let value, let keyword. If I'm saying constant variable name, then it means that we are using the constant keyword to write the variable name. So it is fine. We know that we will be able to declare using the let variable. So here I said let, this is the variable name which is holding the value of n1 plus n2. Now earlier I said whenever there is a variable, if you see here local variable, a variable declared inside the function or inside the block of code. Block of code is nothing but this is block, parenthesis, this is curly braces, this is also called block. So anything you declared inside this, any value that is declared inside the bracket or curly braces is called as local variable, that has the validity only till the locality, only till that particular braces. Same thing is happening here. I said let sum, which is nothing but sum is a new variable because we have used a keyword called let, and then we try to access this one. This is placed inside the curly braces. So when it is placed inside the curly braces, first time when we execute this one, it is printing the value as 40. Why? Because let me comment this one. So it is printing the value as 40 because when the execution start at line number 109, it will see there is a function called here, and once the function is called, it will go back to this number n1 and n2. It will take the value of n1 and n2, and then it will go inside the loop, inside this particular parenthesis, and it will say let sum equal to n1 plus n2 value. It means sum is holding some value of n1 plus n2. Then now we'll be printing console.log and we'll say sum. Sum is the value that is holding here. So basically it will print the value of 15 plus 20, 25 equal to 40 will be printed in line number 107. Now if I want to print the same thing, same sum outside the variable, if I want to print the same sum here outside the variable, then it will throw an error. Why it will throw an error? Because it is outside this particular block. We are trying to access the variable which is declared inside a block, inside this block, and we are trying to access this outside the block. So when we are trying to access outside the block, it will throw an error saying that this variable is not declared anywhere. This is an syntactical error. It will say reference error, sum is not defined. So when we have not defined sum, and if you are trying to access the local variable outside the local scope on the global variable, it will not give you the proper result that it has to return. For example, I said just now about the name. So if I have some suppose let's say if there is a local name inside my house, people call me with a test. Example, I say that my mom, dad, they call me with the test. Now if I go outside, if I go to the market, and if someone called test, will I respond to that particular name? No. I might understand that he's calling someone. Maybe he might be calling me. I don't know. But I'll not respond because people are not aware of that name. People is not aware of that name, that Robin also has a name called Test. That name is only local to my home. Only people inside the home or the close relatives are aware of that, and they are calling me with that name. So that is what happening here. Let's see what happens if I make it let sum. So it is saying undefined. Why? Because again we have declared the sum in the first place is there outside the variable, but we are trying to access outside, but that value is still inside that particular result is still inside the function here. In that case, what we have to do, we have seen yesterday that we will be doing the return value. When we do the return result value, that sum will be able to access outside as well. So this one we have seen. I will just comment this line because it will throw an error. Some variable is access outside the function. This is not possible because it is a local variable and it is declared inside the function. Okay. Is it interesting? this AI part. So it is writing everything on my behalf.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is how it will work inside the organization also. When you enable the GitHub Copilot or Playwright MCP, you'll also be working in the same way. Like, let me open one recent one. So I was explaining this inside yesterday's class. Give me 1 second. Yeah, if you see here, inside this test, this one, this was written entirely by AI. I have not written anything. I think the text has gone, but I could have shown you. And there is one more, login.specs. See this one. This is again entirely written by AI. So I was trying to show that how we can use the AI to write the complete automation script, complete test case. You see this complete test case, including the test data, including the validation it has written, valid, invalid, all the 3 different scenarios. And it has also executed this particular program without any error. And as soon as it keeps on executing, and if it's get the error, it will keep on fixing that error. Okay, so that was about the AI. We'll see it later on. But for now, let's understand the scope of the variable. Yeah, so scope of the variable, any question?
No, Robin.
Okay, now if I have to access this particular sum, this is a local variable, sum is the local variable, and we are trying to access this outside, so it is not allowing us to um, get the value. It is saying that this is sum is a local variable and you cannot access outside the variable. This is fine. Now if I have to fix this value, what is the way I can do it? We have seen it yesterday also. In the yesterday session also we have seen that I said whenever we have a value, whenever we are doing some action inside the function block, and if you want to access that particular result outside the function block, then we need to return some value. We need to return some value. So I will put it here this way, and I'll say return sum. Return sum. Now if I open this one, what happened? The result has already been declared. Okay, we have declared somewhere result, I think, in the top. Yeah, here we have declared the result. So this is the global variable. That is why it is throwing an error. And also result 1, 2. Again, it is throwing the error. What is the reason? Is the function sum is not defined. This is already declared inside the file local variable. So we need to actually, you need to print this value. Yeah. So now if you see, it is printing the value as 40. This one. Why? What is the reason? We have the 2 values of n1 and n2. That's an argument, and we are passing the value as 15 and 25. This is parenthesis, parameter, and this is argument. So when we are passing the value as 15 and 25, which is 15 and 25, inside the block, it will go and check there is a validation I have to do, which is addition operation. So it will do 15 plus 25, which is 40, and it will store inside the sum. Now this sum is holding a value, final value. and that value we are returning as return sum. When we are returning the value as return sum, it means we are returning the value. We are returning the final value of this particular sum. And outside the scope, we are saying now we are calling the function, and that called function we are storing inside a variable, and we are trying to call the function. We are trying to print that particular variable where we are storing the function related result, and that is printing the value as 40. So this is the concept where we are talking about the, like earlier, whatever we have seen, that particular issue is fixed here. Like here we are able to print the value inside the function, and when we are trying to print the same value outside the function, it was throwing an error. So this is how the actual way it works about this function program. But any question you have on the local and global variable? So local variable is nothing but which is accessed, which is represented inside the block. It can be inside this particular two block, inside the parenthesis, inside the curly braces. And if you try to access that particular variable outside the class, outside that parenthesis or block, it will throw an error saying that this particular sum is not defined or the variable is not defined. Everyone cleared, or you want me to explain again?
Understood.
Clear? Is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay. How about Sanjeev and Latashri?
Yeah, clear.
Yeah, Rohan, it's
When
clear.
Okay. All right. So that's about the scope of variable, which is nothing but variable scope. Arrow function, we'll see more detail about this one. We have seen yesterday what is arrow function, type of function. That's the same function is written here inside the function only. Rather than writing type arrow function, I'll just update it to type of function. That we have seen anonymous function, named function, function expression, and arrow function. This one. Then we have classes, we have objects and method. This constructor, arrays, and string. We'll start with the arrays for now. I will let you know about these things. We'll go through each and everything, these three topics. But for first now, we'll start with arrays. What is arrays and how to declare the array. So let me create a variable, create a file here. Okay, I will just disable this chat AI because it is giving the auto suggestion. So you might get confused at the time of writing. Okay, now it will not give the suggestion. So here we'll see what is array. Use of array. Declaration, I'll say syntax and examples. Okay. If I go back to our previous session where I talked about the data type, at the time of explaining the data type, I said we have two different types of data types. One is primitive data types and one is non-primitive data types. Primitive data types are single value, immutable type data types. Single value in the sense we have seen the example like inside the let, if you're using let number, then you can only declare let number. You cannot say something like let number, comma, value equal to 15, comma, 20. You cannot say in this way. This is wrong because data type or primitive data type will accept only a single value. It means if I say let number equal to 15, that is correct. If I say let number equal to 15, comma 20, it will throw an error. Why it will throw an error? We'll see it here itself. I'll say let number equal to 15, comma 20. See, it is throwing an error. It is saying variable declaration expected. So whatever you do here, if you put the semicolon also, it will throw an error because this is not the actual way of writing. A variable can only accept a single value. single value variables in data types. Okay, this is about the single value data types we have seen earlier. Now there is also, close this one. Then we also have the second types of data type, which is non-primitive data types. We have seen that as well. That there is a second type of data type, which is non-primitive data types. And at that time, I said the non-primitive data types are the data types which hold more than one value. If just now we said let number equal to 40, then we are able to see the number value. But what happened if I want to store more than one value? If I want to store more than one value, it means I will definitely have to use the data types, different data types, where I can use more than one value, because inside the primitive data types, it is only allowing me to use single value, not the multiple value. So in that sense, we'll be using non-primitive data types. And what are the different non-primitive data types we have? We have arrays, object, function. Constructor is also a kind of non-primitive data types, where we'll be able to store more than one value, and we'll see that one. So basically, first of all, I'll write what is array. Array is a non-primitive data type which can store more than one variables. We can store more than one variables value. Okay, it is also called as a array is a special variable. Okay, array. So normally when I say this one, let number equal to 15, it means I'm saying that there is a keyword let and there is a variable called num which is holding some value. Number is the keyword which is holding some value. When this variable is holding some value, we call it as a single variable, single value variable. This is normal variable. But arrays is also a variable. It is also a variable. But the problem with arrays, I will not say this is a problem of array, but the good thing with the array is it is holding more than one variable. I can add n number of variable inside the arrays and it will not give me the problem. So there will be a realistic scenario. If I say I only want to get 10 rupees, I only want 10 rupees, then I can say let number equal to 10. But if I say I want to withdraw the money from ATM, where I want the notes to be in different formats, it should be in 100 as well as 200, 500. Earlier it was 2000. So in different format, I want more than one value. In that case, we'll be using arrays as a variable, and that will store multiple values. So let's write the syntax for arrays. So it will start with let is the keyword, let or constant. Again, for declaring arrays also, you will have to use the same variable name that we have used earlier, which is let and constant. I'll say let array name. You can take anything as array name. And then I will say the value. Always remember, array's value will be inside the square bracket. This is called a square bracket. What we have seen so far, we have seen there is something called bracket, which is called as parenthesis. Then we have seen curly braces. This is called curly braces, which is also called the block of a function or block of the loop. And then there is something called square bracket. Square bracket is used for the array declaration. So what will happen inside the white square bracket? It will hold more than one value. You should be able to declare more than one value. So here I'll say value 1, value 2, value 3, value 4, value 1, value 2, value 3, value 4. Okay, and it is throwing error. Okay, so as soon as we give the space there between value and 1, it considered 2 as a one. This is different variable and this is different variable. So this is how the syntax of arrays look like. There will be a keyword followed by the name of an array, keyword followed by name of an array, and then we have the different values, value 1, value 2, value 3, value 4, and number of values you can write inside the arrays. Now let's see the actual differences. This is how the syntax looks like. Now if I have to assume that I told you people that there are 3 different people in the class, then you have to print the value of all the 3 different people. So I'll say s1 equal to, I'll take John, let s2 equal to, I'll say Peter, let s3 equal to something called Sarah. Okay, now if I have to do console.log, then I will say s1 comma s2 comma s3. If I go back here, I'll say clear node array.js. Value is not defined. Okay, so this one I'll put it inside the comment because this is a syntax, and this value, it is considering this as a variable. So we'll see here when we'll write the actual program. So actually this is the syntax. Just understand syntax of arrays. Okay, now here I have declared 3 variable. Okay, I have declared 3 variable. The variable 1 is s1, variable 2 is s2, variable 3 is s3. First s1 is holding a value called John, s2 is holding a value called Peter, s3 is holding the value called Sarah, and then it is printing the value all together. So I'm getting the output as John, Peter, and Sarah. John, Peter, and Sarah. This is the normal way of doing the variable declaration that we have seen so far in the primitive data type. This is how we'll do. We'll declare each and every value, and then we will add those value. We will print those value. Now the another way is using arrays. So using arrays, what we will do, we will say let name equal to this one, and then I'll put here John. I'll some differentiate with a. Then we'll say Peter a. A is nothing but array. I'm just trying to differentiate from here. If not, it will print the same value as a result. Then we have Sarah a. Okay. Now this is the value. If I say console.log, it is printing whatever the value we have declared inside the arrays. So what did we understand here? The differences between normal variable and arrays is a special type of variable that can store more than one value. It can store more than one value. Inside the normal primitive data types, we'll be only able to store one value, but inside non-primitive data types, we'll be able to store more than one value. So that is what it is doing here. Now, in the same way, let's assume that let's assume one program. So if you take the example of Zomato and Swiggy that we're using in India, Zepto, Blinkit, and other things, shopping cart, or Amazon, or shopping cart, Amazon or Flipkart, anything that you have. So whenever there is a shopping cart, do you think shopping cart will have only one value? It will not have one value. It will have the mix of different value. You might add some different variables. I'll say let cart equal to. So you might add some, say, food item. You might add some cloth. You might add some cloth. You might add some, I'll say twice. And you might add some fashionable, I will say food item, cloth, and then there is something called fruits. I'll take it as a fruits. Okay. Now we have got these 4 values inside the array. So shopping cart can contain in this way. Your shopping cart, it is not that you only will be ordering one thing. You can order one thing, but you have the option to add multiple things inside the cart. So cart, whenever you see cart, remember that cart is always storing the value in the form of arrays. It is not storing the value in the form of normal variable. Now from now on, whenever you go to Amazon or Flipkart and you add the product, always remember that those product that was added is using the arrays. It is getting holded inside the cart as an array value, not as an normal variable value. Okay, so now when I said this one, that I have declared the variable inside the I have declared the array as a variable, and this is holding the multiple value. Now I hope this is clear for you people, that what is the difference between normal value and the array value. Okay, so now if I have to print the value, suppose initially if you see here, I gave 3 names, which is John A, Peter A, and Sarah A. 3 value I have given. But if I have to use the shopping cart here, and I don't want to print all the 3 value, I only want to print the value for food item, or I want to print the value from cloth, or I want to print the only value from twice, or only for the fruits, any one value. I do not want to print the all value. In that case, I will say console.log, and then I will say cart. I'll take the index of the value. What is index? We will see. No. So see, it is saying food item. So remember here, inside array, the value are stored in the form of index. What does this mean? Index in arrays start from 0, 1, 2, and so on. So index basically start from 0. It means that first value that you have here, first value that is at the 0th index. It is at the 0 place. Second value is at first place. Third value is at second place. Fourth value is at third place. Now understand in this way, suppose if you have to arrange the items in a systematic order, one after the other, like you have to place one first item in the floor, then second item you have to place on top of that, third item you have to place on top of that, fourth item you have to place on top of that, fifth item you have to place on top of that. So in that case, what will happen? The first item that you place in a box, let's assume there is a square box, and you have something in a same square shape that you want to put it inside the box. Now you'll put it inside the box, which that will be at the bottom of the box. First value will be always at the bottom of the box. Now when that particular value is at the bottom, it means that it is having the index of 0. From there, the list of item is getting started. So if I say in this way, so you know the bricks that is used for construction. So I'll say bricks 1, bricks 2, bricks 3, bricks 4, bricks 5. So on the ground, you have given the first bricks. On top of that, you have given the another bricks, second bricks, third bricks, fourth bricks, and fifth bricks. When you give all the 5 bricks, it means that you have 5 sets of bricks added one after the other. 5 sets of bricks added one after the other. Now, if I tell you what is the first one, then you should always remember the value that you have added for the first time. The value that you have added for the first time is called as first index. It is nothing but first index, the first value. Second value is second index. Third value is third index. Fourth value is fourth index. Fifth value is fifth index. Now, index in arrays, always remember, index in arrays start from 0 to 1. It starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, so on up to n number of values that we have inside the arrays. Now this is called, this is at 0 index. This is the third index. Okay, now we have seen here that we have got 5 value 1 2 3 4 5, but each value, first value start from 0 1 2 3 4, so final value is always less than 1. So if I have to say how many values it has present here, I'll say 5, but if I ask you what are the indexes of each one, then you will say n minus 1 index. So it means the first value start from the 0 index, second will have 1 index, third will have 2 index, fourth will have 3 index, and fifth will have 4 index. Now from here in this particular program, if you see cart 1, I will just take it on the top. Okay, here I have written the indexing part. Okay, so now if you see the cart here, I have got the food item, which is a 0 index, 1 index, 2 index, 3 index. Now, if I have to access the value, if I tell you tomorrow that I have 5 different students, but give me the name of student, which is at index number 2. So how will you print the value? So if I say here in the food cart item, whatever we have here right now, I'll say we have the cart value, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, and this cart value, whatever the cart value we have here, this is holding the value in the form of index of 0, index of 1, index of 2, index of 3. Now this index value, I need to print this value in my console. If I ask you to print this value inside your console, how will you do? You'll do the console.log. That's the one thing. Now you'll ask me which value you want to print. So whatever the value you want to print, that is stored inside a cart variable. So I'll say cart, and then using the index, I will print the value. If I have to print the value, let's say if I have to print the value called twice. So twice is at the second index. This is 0, 1, 2, which is at the second index. So it's just 2. Now if I run this one, it will print twice and food, first one food item, twice and food item. Why? Because here the value twice is at the second index. If I have to print the value as a third index, console.log, I'll say cart, and then I'll put it as a 3, which means the third index value is getting printed, which is fruits. So first 0 index is food item, second index is twice, and third index is fruits. This is about the arrays. This is how the arrays are declared. This is how the arrays values are printed on the console using the arrays index. Now arrays will have different methods, different things you can do on the arrays. For example, we know that arrays is nothing but a non-primitive data types, a data type which can hold more than one value. This can hold more than one value. In primitive data types, we have seen that the value it can hold is only single value. But what we observed in the primitive data types, that we are able to overwrite the value. If I say let number equal to 15, in the next line I can say let in place of number, I'll use the same number as a variable, and then in place of 15 I'll say 20. Now the value of variables become 20. Initially it was 15, now it becomes 20. What does that mean? It means that we are able to override or update the variable value. We can also do the same thing. If there is a cart, the cart consists of 5 items, but suppose my mind got changed and I want to add few more items in the cart. If I have to change the item, if I have to delete the item from the cart, initially what happened? If you go to the Amazon website, Amazon app, and you want to order something. So what you'll do, you'll add some item, you'll add perfume, you'll add some beauty creams and other things, you'll add some clothing things, you'll add shoes, track pant, anything you'll add, grocery item. You'll add anything on the shopping cart. You go to the cart, and then you decided, okay, I have to go back and add some more things. So what you'll do, you'll go back to the cart and you'll add some more thing. It means you already have a cart value. The cart is already present with these items, but you want to add few items inside this particular cart. You want to add few more items inside this particular cart, or you want to decrease some item from the cart, because it is not mandatory. It is not mandatory that whenever you have this particular value, cart value, this will be fixed value. It can change. It depends on person to person. Only what I will order, it is not mandatory that you people will order the same thing. That is why the cart value can always be changing. It means we can update the value by adding new items. We can delete the value by removing new items. That's how it is done, cart value. So we'll see how that can be done, because we know that inside the non-primitive data types, we should be able to update the value. We should be able to update the cart value. Now for that, let's see what are the different ways we have. So when I said let cart equal to this one, I've already said this one. Now to update the value inside the array, we use push method. What is that? We'll see here. To update the value, we'll use push method. So I said cart here. I said cart. So I'll say cart dot. As soon as you put on dot, you'll see all the different methods are displaying here. These are the predefined methods. So see, these are the predefined methods. In that method, in the predefined method, there is something called push as well. So I'll say push. Not all the methods are useful to us. What are the things that is useful? I'm telling you. I'll say cart dot push, and in the push, I will write what is the item you want to push. I'll say perfume. Okay, I'll say console.log. Now I'll say cart. Let's see what happened. See, initially the item was food item, cloth, toys, fruits. Now it has also added a new item called perfume. Now I can also do the same way. I can add one more item here. I can see in place of perfume, I'll say ball. If I console.log cart, now the value will, after perfume, there will be one more newly added ball, newly item called ball. So cart is getting updated. This is fine. This is, we are able to update the value. Now, as we are able to update, we should also be able to remove the value. So for that, there is a method called the method pop is used to remove the value from arrays. So I will say cart dot pop, and I will print the value. So what it will do basically, it will remove the last added value, whatever the last value you have, whatever the value we have last. If you're adding ball, if you're adding perfume, the last value will be removed from the cart using cart.pop method. So this is for the removing of the last value. We'll see even the specific value as well. So this is for remove. We know there are two value. One is push. Push is to add the new value inside the array. Pop is to delete the last value added inside the arrays. That's about the add, push, and pop. Now there is another value we have called unshift. Unshift. It is nothing but insert the new element at the start of an array. Start of an array. So currently using the push method, we have seen that we are able to add the variable add new item, but that is getting added at the last of the variable. What if I want to add the in the top of the variable, in the first place itself? So in that case, I will say cart dot unshift, and I will add some value called bat. I'll say console.log. So now you see the bat is printed at the first place. It got added at the first place. There is food item, there is cloth, there is toys, there is fruits, there is perfume. Now what happened with the unshift is nothing but, assume this example of bricks where we are having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values. So first value, first time you have added the first bricks, which will be at the bottom of the box. It will be right on the earth surface. So now what happened if you want to put something which is inside the bricks? For example, you want to put some sand inside the bricks. What you'll do, you'll lift the bricks and you'll put sand inside the bricks. Now you'll put the same bricks as it is. It means you have added some sand or some water or some other things, some stones or tiles right below the bricks, so that it will not damage the land. Same thing we are doing here. We are saying that I already have the value. I already have the arrays value here. Now in the arrays value, whatever the value I have here, in the starting of the arrays, starting of the value in the card, add one more value that is called bat. So using that, we can do using unshift method. Using an unshift method, and that will add the value at the top of the arrays. Now there is one more which is called there is something called shift. There is a method called shift. Shift is nothing but it remove the elements from the start of an array. We have seen unshift, which adds at the start of an array, and then there is something called shift, which will remove the element from the start of the arrays. So I will say cart dot shift then I'll say console.log cart. Now if you see, the first bat is removed. So initially it was perfume, then it added ball, then it has removed the ball, then it has added bat, and then it has removed the bat as well. So this is the few methods which we'll be using. We'll be using these 4 methods going forward whenever we want to add, update, remove the value. But apart from that, we have lot many other methods also. So if you say cart dot, we have concatenate, we have fill, we have find, we have flat, index of, keys, join, length, map. We have seen push pop, we can reduce, reverse, slice, sum, splice, console, num. So most of the other methods are there, which is not that much used in the in our day-to-day activity inside the scripting language like Playwright or JavaScript. But if you want to take a look on that, you can give a practice for those different methods, the same way how we have done here, and you should be able to understand that. If you have any question, you can reach out to me. I'll be able to help you on that. So any question on the arrays part? That's more or less about the arrays. Probably we'll see some examples problem tomorrow in the arrays, and we'll also understand the objects related data tomorrow. Arrays is very small topic. It is nothing but how to declare the variable, multiple variable inside arrays, using arrays, and how to add, delete the variable from the list of arrays we have. Okay, so if any question, feel free to ask. I'll stop the recording.